All right, so today we're diving into something I think a lot of people think about,
Mm-hmm.
like how to make smarter decisions,
Yeah.
especially about risky things like trading.
Oh, yeah.
We've got this whole stack of articles about
Okay.
like how amateur traders think versus the pros.
Interesting.
And I always love kind of seeing what the pros are doing different.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what's their secret?
Yeah, exactly. So,
What jumped out at you from these articles?
honestly, at first I thought it was going to be all about charts and like
Yeah.
all this technical stuff, but it turns out it's
Yeah.
way more about mindset.
It's interesting, right? Because you think it'd be more technical.
Yeah. Like how to read
The tea leaves.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's like,
But it's really about the mental game. I mean, think about it.
yeah.
Even if you had, like, the perfect system, the best strategy, if you can't keep your cool,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to make dumb
And
decisions.
and lose all your money. Okay, so these articles, they lay out like 6 key things that amateurs do different
Okay.
than the pros. Like how they think.
Gotcha.
So instead of just like listing them,
Yeah.
let's like really get into why they matter.
Yeah, let's dig into that. Like, what's behind these differences?
Totally. Okay, so one that really stood out to me
Okay.
was how they handle losses.
Yeah, losses.
Because amateurs, they take it personal,
Totally. It's like a gut punch.
It's like, yeah, punch to the ego,
Mhm.
and then they try to like,
Win it back immediately.
yeah, like I'm going to prove the market wrong.
Right. Revenge trading. I've heard that called.
Which I'm guessing never works out.
It rarely ends well. You're just chasing your losses at that point.
Yeah.
And then the pros, though, they're different.
Okay, yeah. How so?
They see a loss, and it's just part of the game.
Oh.
They've got a plan. They stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't freak out over a few bad trades.
So it's all about having that plan and like the discipline.
Discipline, yeah, to stick to it.
Yeah, okay. Which actually reminds me of another difference.
Okay.
How they take profits.
Taking profits.
Yeah.
The exciting part.
Yeah, right. But the article said
Mm.
amateurs, they go for these quick wins.
Quick wins. Yeah, like snatching a $20 bill off the sidewalk.
Yeah, exactly. And the pros are like
They're more patient, right?
way more patient, like they're playing the long game.
It's like that saying, don't interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Ooh, I like that.
Amateurs, they see a little profit and they're out.
Mm-hmm.
But they could have made so much more if they just waited.
So they're not seeing the bigger...
The bigger trend.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're not seeing the forest for the trees.
But how do you know the difference? Like between a quick blip and like a real trend?
Well, that takes understanding the market, right?
Yeah.
Which is why another difference is focus.
Focus. Okay.
Yeah. Like, picture the amateur trader. They got, like, screens everywhere.
Mm.
News, social media, maybe even a game going.
Oh, man. Talk about distractions.
Right. So much noise.
Yeah.
It's impossible to think straight.
You go crazy.
And then you got the pro,
Okay.
laser focus,
Yeah.
charts, data, that's it.
So they're filtering out all that junk
Filtering out the noise.
so they can like...
see the signal.
Yes.
Okay.
That actually reminds me of something else that articles talked about.
Yeah.
How long they spend actually like...
Trading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the pros, they're way more efficient.
It's like they're working smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And the amateurs are like...
They're glued to the screen,
for hours.
but they're jumping around,
Yeah.
from one time frame to another, chasing every little price move.
So they're reacting, not...
Not thinking strategically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the pros, they wait.
For the right moment.
They have a plan.
It's like they're playing like 3D chess or something?
It's like they can see the whole board,
Totally.
while the amateurs are just focused on one little square.
Yeah. This all makes so much sense now, like why the pros win more often.
Yeah, it's not about luck, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about having the right mindset. And speaking of mindset, there's another big difference between pros and amateurs.
Okay, what's that?
Confidence.
Confidence. But isn't that a good thing?
It can be.
Hmm.
But there's a difference between real confidence, the kind that comes from experience and skill,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's like overconfidence, the kind that comes from not knowing what you don't know.
So it's about being realistic, knowing you can't predict everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pros know they're going to be wrong sometimes,
Right.
but they're okay with that. They accept the uncertainty.
That makes sense. So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Exactly. They're managing their risk.
One of the articles had this great analogy about risk. They said pro traders are like casino owners.
Oh, I like that. Tell me more.
Well, the casino doesn't win every hand, right?
Right.
But they have a system.
A system that favors them in the long run.
Yeah. And pro traders do the same thing.
They're not focused on winning every trade.
It's about the bigger picture.
Right. It's about managing risk so that over time.
You come out ahead.
Exactly.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so we've talked about losses, we've talked about confidence, about having a plan.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the emotional side of things? Like, how do pro traders actually deal with those losses when they happen?
That's a great question. And it's something that really sets them apart. They don't just shrug it off. They take the time to analyze what happened.
So they're learning from their mistakes.
Exactly. They're constantly refining their approach, turning a negative into a positive.
Huh. So it's like, even when they lose, they're still winning in a way.
In a way, yeah. They're gaining valuable experience.
Yeah.
And that's something anyone can do.
You mean even if we're not trading stock?
Absolutely. It's about having a growth mindset, seeing setbacks as opportunities to learn and improve.
I love that. Okay, so we've uncovered some pretty powerful insights already.
We're just getting started.
Oh, really?
These articles are packed with wisdom from some of the greatest traders of all time.
Okay, you've definitely got me hooked. What else can we learn from these trading legends?
Well, for one thing, they have some really specific strategies for managing risk, like something called a stop-loss order. Have you heard of that?
A stop loss. Vaguely. Tell me more.
Basically, it's a way to automatically exit a trade if it starts going against you, like an emergency brake on your investments.
Ah, that makes sense. So you don't get caught up in the emotion of the moment and ride a losing trade all the way down.
Exactly. And it ties into another key concept, the risk-reward ratio.
Risk-reward ratio. Okay, you're going to have to explain that one.
Sure. It's basically a way to measure the potential profit of a trade against the potential loss. Pros are very calculated about this. They only take trades where the potential reward outweighs the risk.
So it's like playing poker, knowing when to hold them, when to fold them, and when to go all in.
That's a great analogy. And this leads into another key difference between pros and amateurs, their understanding of market trends.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's different about how pros approach market trends?
They're not trying to predict every little wiggle in the market. They're looking for those larger, more sustained movements that signal a shift in sentiment.
So they're not getting caught up in the day-to-day noise. They're looking for those big waves that can carry them further.
Exactly. They understand that trying to catch every peak and valley is a recipe for exhaustion and ultimately losses.
So we're starting to see a clear picture of the pro trader mindset. Disciplined, strategic, risk-aware, and focused on the long game.
That's a great summary.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is, many of these principles can be applied to decision-making in all areas of life.
That's what I love about these deep dives. We start with one topic, and it ends up connecting to so many other aspects of our lives.
Exactly. And we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore.
Okay, well, you've definitely left me wanting more. Let's dive into part 2 and see what other wisdom these trading legends have to share. Okay, so we're back. And we're still in this world of, pro traders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy how much we can learn from these guys.
I know, right?
Even if, none of us are going to go be Wall Street,
Yeah.
big-time trader.
Totally. But one thing that's really struck me
Yeah.
going through these articles is how much of what makes a good trader is just good life advice too.
Oh, interesting. What? Give me an example.
Well, like risk management, right?
Okay, yeah.
We talked about how the pros are so disciplined about it.
Yeah.
But that's not just for trading, is it? It's like every decision we make has some risk.
Right. Investing, starting a business, even just
Trying a new food.
Exactly. It could be spicy, who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
But the pros, they have this way of thinking about it. They
Right.
ask, what's the worst that could happen?
Right, yeah. Is it worth it for the potential upside?
That's so smart. So instead of just
Jumping in blind.
yeah, you actually
You assess.
yeah,
You think it through.
and you make a better choice.
Right.
Probably.
Less likely to regret it later.
Totally. And that reminds me of something else.
Okay.
Having a plan, which we also talked about.
Yeah, the roadmap. Whether it's trading, a new project, whatever.
I used to think plans were,
Boring.
yeah, kind of stifling,
I get that. You want to be spontaneous.
Right, exactly. But now I'm realizing
Yeah.
a good plan actually gives you freedom.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, because you're not always
Second guessing yourself.
yes. Or like reacting to every little thing.
You're not getting blown around by the wind.
Exactly. You can focus on what matters.
It's, like you said, it's freeing.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay, and this ties into something else too.
Okay, I'm following. What is it?
Emotional intelligence.
Ah, yes. Keeping your cool.
Right. We said how pro traders, they're masters of that.
Like they're Zen masters or something.
Totally. But that's not just a trading thing, right?
Not at all. Think about any high-pressure job.
Okay, yeah, like athletes, right?
Athletes, musicians, surgeons even.
Oh, yeah, when you're operating on someone.
The pressure's on.
Yeah.
But the ones who nail it consistently, they're the ones who can control their emotions.
That makes sense. You know, I used to think that meant like...
Bottling it all up.
Yeah, kind of. Just pretend you don't feel anything.
But that's not healthy. It's more about knowing what you're feeling, why,
Okay, yeah.
and then choosing how to react.
So it's not about denying the feeling. It's more like...
Using it.
Yeah.
Channeling it the right way.
Yes, exactly. Okay, and one last thing that keeps coming up.
I'm ready. What is it?
Continuous learning. We talked about how the pros...
They never stop, right?
Yeah.
Always studying.
Yeah. New strategies, new techniques. It's constant.
But again, that's not just a trading thing, is it?
No, totally
Okay.
not. The world changes so fast now.
If you're not learning, you're falling behind.
Exactly. You got to stay curious.
It's like a muscle, that curiosity. Got to keep it strong.
It's funny. All the successful people I know, they're like that.
Always reading, taking courses.
Yeah, always learning something new.
Like they can't get enough knowledge.
It's inspiring, actually. It's not about like...
Being born a genius.
Yeah, or having some secret.
It's about effort, the hard work.
So we've got risk management, we've got emotional control, and we've got this idea of never stopping learning.
The trifecta.
I like that. Okay, what else did these articles have for us?
Well, something really fascinating is how much they talk about.
Yeah.
Not just the numbers, but the psychology of the market.
Okay, so we've talked about personal emotions, but how do you analyze like the psychology of millions of people?
It's not about reading minds, right? It's more about
Yeah.
seeing the patterns, understanding how fear, greed, all that drives the way the market moves.
So like if everyone's panicking and selling,
That's often a good time to buy.
for someone who can keep their head, yeah,
Exactly. The pros, they look for those moments
everyone else is losing it.
where the crowd is emotional. That's where the opportunity is.
It's like they're playing a whole different game.
Right. It's not just about the numbers.
It's about understanding the humans behind the numbers.
And that brings us to another important point. The pros, they're really good at tuning out the noise.
The noise.
Yeah, all the hype, the hot tips, the news headlines.
Ah, the stuff that freaks everyone else out.
Exactly. Amateurs get sucked into that.
Yeah.
But pros, they're patient.
They wait for their moment.
One of the articles compared it to surfing.
Surfing, okay.
Like, you don't jump on every ripple, right?
Yeah.
You wait for that perfect wave.
Oh, that's a good analogy. So you're saying not every opportunity is worth it.
Right. It's about choosing your battles. And that ties into risk management, too. Pros are always thinking about the downside.
So it's not just about potential profit.
It's about protecting what you've already got.
Yeah, that makes sense. Man, we've covered so much ground.
I know, right? It's amazing how much we can learn from these traders.
It's like, even if we're not going to go trade stocks, there's so much to apply to our own lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the best part is, we're not done yet. There's still more to uncover.
All right. Well, you've definitely piqued my curiosity. Let's keep this deep dive going. So we've really gotten into the heads of these, like, master traders.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
And it's funny, like, you start out thinking about Wall Street, and then you realize it's about way more than that.
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest takeaways for me
Yeah.
is that so much of what they do, it applies to, like, everything, you know?
Totally. It's like life lessons disguised as trading tips.
Exactly. Like we were just talking about risk management, how
Yeah.
the pros are so good at it. But you need that in life too, right?
Oh, yeah. Every decision has some risk, I guess.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Investing money, starting a business, even just, I don't know, deciding to...
To go skydiving.
Exactly. There's risk everywhere.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. So how do they, like, approach it then?
Well, they always think about the downside. You know,
Okay.
what's the worst that could happen? And then they weigh that against the potential reward.
So you're not just like...
YOLOing into every decision.
Yeah. You actually, like, stop and think.
You're more deliberate.
And probably make a better choice. Right?
Exactly. Way less regret later on.
I like that. You know what else?
What else?
This whole idea of having a plan.
Ah, yeah, the roadmap keeps you on track.
It's funny, I used to think, like,
Plans were for boring people.
yeah, kinda. Like, where's the fun in that?
Right, you want to be spontaneous, go with the flow.
Exactly. But now I'm seeing it differently.
Oh, yeah, how so?
Because a good plan, it actually,
Gives you freedom.
yeah, because you're
that's
not
going back.
constantly,
Stressing, wondering what to do next.
yes, you know where you're going.
Like that hiking analogy, remember?
Oh, yeah, yeah. The trail through the woods.
You might see cool stuff wandering around aimlessly, but
You'll never get where you need to be.
unless you have that map, that plan.
Okay, that's really good. And you know what else this connects to?
What's that? Hit me with it.
Emotions, like how you handle them.
Yeah, emotional intelligence. We talked about that.
Right. The pros, they're like Zen masters.
Total control, even under pressure.
It's amazing. But again, that's not just trading.
Not at all.
I got it.
Any high-stakes situation, you need that.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I bet even for,
Brain surgeons,
yes, exactly.
life or death decisions. Got to stay calm.
Okay, but how do they, like, actually do that? Because I used to think it meant,
Just like ignore your feelings.
yeah, kind of. Pretend you're a robot.
No, that doesn't work. It's more about
Okay.
being aware of what you're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
understanding why you feel that way,
Okay, yeah.
and then you choose how to react.
So it's like you're in control, not the emotion.
Exactly. You're the driver, not the passenger.
That is good. Okay, last thing that's really stood out.
Okay, lay it on me.
It's this emphasis on always learning.
Ah, yeah. Continuous improvement, right?
Yes. Like the pros, they never stop.
They're like sharks. Got to
Yeah.
keep moving.
Totally. Always studying, trying new stuff.
But again, that's a life lesson.
Oh, for sure. The world's changing so fast now.
If you're standing still,
You're falling behind.
exactly. You
You
got to
got-
stay curious.
And all the really successful people I know, they're like that.
Always reading, taking courses.
Yeah, always trying to level up.
Like they have this this thirst for knowledge.
It's pretty cool, actually. It's not about, like,
Being a natural, having some gift,
yeah, it's about, like, putting in the work.
effort, dedication. That's what matters.
Okay, so we've got the risk, we've got the emotions, we've got the learning.
The 3 pillars.
I like that.
That's-
Anything else?
Oh, there's one more thing that I found really fascinating.
What is it?
How much they talk about the psychology, not just of themselves, but of like,
The whole market.
yeah, like how do you analyze the emotions of millions of people?
That sounds impossible.
It's not about like reading minds or anything. It's about patterns.
Yeah.
Understanding how fear and greed, all that, drives the market.
So, like, if everyone's freaking out and selling,
Could be a buying opportunity.
if you can stay calm, yeah.
Right. The pros look for those moments.
When everyone else is losing their cool.
That's where the edge is.
Man, it's like they're playing a whole different game.
It's not just about the numbers anymore.
It's about the humans behind the numbers.
Which is why they're so good at ignoring the noise.
The noise, yeah.
All the hype, the rumors, the news.
That gets everyone else riled up.
The amateurs chase that stuff.
Yeah.
The pros, they're patient, disciplined.
Waiting for the right moment.
One of the articles, it compared it to surfing, remember?
Oh, yeah. The perfect way.
You don't just jump on any wave that comes
You're
along.
going to be picky.
Choose your battles. And that's risk management too, right?
Because even the best opportunities can go bad.
Exactly. Got to protect your capital.
This is all so, like, eye-opening.
I know. It's amazing how much we can learn from these guys.
Even if, like, we never trade a stock in our lives.
It's about mindset, really.
Yeah.
And that applies to everything.
Okay, so to wrap this whole deep dive up then, what's the biggest takeaway? What should people remember?
I think it's this. You don't have to be a pro trader to think like one.
Yeah, that's good. So think about your own life.
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to achieve?
What decisions are you facing?
And then ask yourself.
How would a pro approach this?
Use those skills, the risk management, the emotional control.
The constant learning, the discipline.
It's all there for us to learn from.
Absolutely. And the best part is the learning never stops.
That's right. So until next time, keep those minds sharp.
Stay curious.
And remember, even if you're not on Wall Street, you can still make decisions like a pro.